Can Formula One's most successful driver reverse a structural crisis from within Ferrari, or are we facing a time bomb disguised as a revolution? Subscribe to continue uploading more of this type of content now if we continue. Lewis Hamilton is not just any driver. He is a historical figure, a master in the art of communicating without the need to explain. So when he posted his birthday message on January 7th, 2026, it wasn't simply a personal reflection. That post was, in essence, a carefully calculated intervention. In it, Hamilton wrote, "The time for change is now," accompanied by a reference to the Chinese lunar calendar, mentioning the transition from the year of the snake to the year of the horse. But why is that metaphor relevant? Because the rampant horse is not just any symbol, it is the soul of Ferrari, its most sacred emblem. That is to say, Hamilton chose to compare himself to that change of era as a way to send a message directly to the core of Maranello. Hamilton, with his experience, was one of the first to detect a disturbing pattern. The simulator data did not match the real behavior of the car on the track. That disconnection between the digital and the tangible is one of the biggest technical sins a Formula One team can commit in the modern era. The simulator is the tool that saves millions in development, anticipate problems, and build confidence in configurations. If that tool fails, the entire building shakes. And at Ferrari, that correlation was broken. The specific failures were multiple and varied: instability during braking, loss of traction during acceleration phases, and erratic heating of the tires. But the most worrying thing was not the what, but the why. Ferrari could not identify the causes. Each technical change generated unforeseen consequences. Each adjustment to the suspension, aerodynamics, or load produced a different effect on the track. For a driver like Hamilton, used to cars with predictable behavior, this lack of consistency was a direct blow to his confidence. And that's when the real internal drama arose. Ferrari, aware of these problems, decided to continue downplaying them in public while operating unevenly in private. The breaking point came at the Brazilian Grand Prix, a race that exposed the rift within the team. Hamilton revealed that over several key weekends, he had raced earlier versions of the car, while teammate Charles Leclerc received all the upgrades. This was not a logistical failure, but a deliberate strategy. Ferrari had made the decision to focus the development of the SF26 on Leclerc, using Hamilton's car as a reference for consistency. That is, while Leclerc tested each new piece, Hamilton served as a point of comparison with the base version. This, in practical terms, meant that Lewis was competing with an inferior car, with obsolete parts, and with no real possibility of fighting on equal terms. In Brazil, it used an already discarded rear suspension, a degraded flat bottom, and tire compounds that were not even within its operating window. The result was obvious: a car that simply did not respond. In the heart of Maranello, Ferrari has made a technical decision that could redefine not only its destiny in the 2026 season, but also the direction of engine development in modern Formula One. The new propellant that will power the SF26 is, without a doubt, a bold piece of engineering. However, this audacity could become a catastrophic strategic error if the risks involved are not controlled in time. Because this time, Ferrari has not opted for a prudent evolution. It has bet everything on a radical architecture with a level of risk rarely seen in the category. The core of this decision revolves around the use of cylinder heads made of steel instead of traditional aluminum. At first glance, it might seem like a simple change of material. But in modern F1, where every gram counts and every degree of temperature alters the behavior of the car, this choice changes everything. Steel allows it to withstand significantly higher pressures and temperatures, which theoretically enables a more efficient level of combustion and superior integration of the hybrid system, the ERS. This synergy could allow for more aggressive energy recovery, longer deployment, and a reduction in the size of the radiators, with consequent aerodynamic gains. On paper, it looks like a revolutionary advance. In practice, it is a play on the brink of the abyss. Because steel, although stronger, is also much heavier. Early estimates indicate that Ferrari's new engine will weigh around 150 kilograms. This represents an increase of approximately 30 kilograms compared to its predecessor. That figure, although it may seem manageable out of context, represents a real problem within a Formula One car, where weight distribution and the center of gravity are decisive for competitiveness. Under regulations that come into force in 2026, the challenge is not simply to build a powerful engine. It means ensuring that that power is harmoniously integrated with the rest of the car in a completely redesigned energy ecosystem. The new standards will give even more prominence to the electrical component and general energy efficiency. In this context, a heavier engine can alter the entire dynamic balance of a car. It can affect braking, traction, tire degradation, and even more dangerously, the energy regeneration logic in the race. If the engine compromises the energy rhythm of the car, the entire aerodynamic concept is also affected. It is a chain reaction that can drag the entire project to the bottom of the grid. And the most disturbing thing is that Ferrari has decided to move forward without having yet guaranteed the reliability of this unit. Internal sources have been clear. The engine has not completed the validation cycles necessary to confirm its long-term endurance. In other words, they are prioritizing immediate power, hoping that structural issues can be resolved later in the season. It's an extremely risky strategy, especially when the 2026 regulations will limit the use of power units to just 4 per driver for 24 races. A premature breakage could not only cost points, but jeopardize the entire championship. The situation becomes even more worrying if the human context behind this development is taken into account. This new engine architecture was promoted by Davide Mazzoni, a young engineer considered brilliant, but who assumed leadership after the departure of 2 key figures, Wolf Zimmermann and Lars Schmidt. Both left Ferrari to join the Audi project, taking with them years of experience, knowledge, and above all, technical stability. Mazzoni has tried to compensate for these absences with bold ideas and a disruptive approach, but his lack of experience at the highest level leaves reasonable doubts. To balance the scales, Ferrari turned to AVL, the Austrian firm with extensive experience in advanced simulation and development of combustion systems. They also strengthened the team with the addition of Guido De Bola, a respected veteran in experimental validation environments. But neither AVL nor De Bola can eliminate the most dangerous variable: time. Because such a radical development takes months, even years, to reach maturity. And Ferrari doesn't have them. The result is clear. The SF26 is becoming a bet, not in a solution. Ferrari is not building on technical certainties, but on potential benefits that at this point exist only in simulations and test beds. There is no room for error in 2026, and yet Ferrari has willingly put itself in a position where every mistake could cost it dearly. Hamilton knows it. He sensed it from day one. That's why their messages have a tone of urgency, even alarm. And in the middle of all this, there is external pressure. The media, the fans, the rivals. Everyone observes every gesture, every statement, every result with a magnifying glass. The Hamilton-Ferrari project is not just sports. It's symbolic. It represents the hope that the most legendary team in motorsport can return to the top with the help of one of the greats. But if that hope turns into frustration, if history becomes a repetition of past mistakes, the outcome will not only be disappointing, it will be devastating. In that scenario, the question is no longer whether there will be a collision between Hamilton and Ferrari. The real question is when. And if when it happens, the team will be prepared to assume its share of responsibility, or will fall back into the old reflex of blaming external factors for its own internal failures. Because in Formula One, as in any high-performance project, true champions are not only built with talent. They are built with brave decisions, humility to correct mistakes, and structures that know how to listen before it is too late. Ferrari still has time to react, but the clock is ticking, and Hamilton has already given all the signs. Ferrari, at this precise moment, finds itself walking a thin line that separates the possibility of a historic redemption from a fall that could mark a new dark chapter in its already complex recent career. After decades of frustrations, leadership changes, and erratic decisions, it seemed that the arrival of Lewis Hamilton would mark the definitive turn towards a new era. But the 2025 season has shown that Ferrari's problems are not easily resolved. And even more, he has exposed that some of these problems are not on the circuits, but deeply rooted in the internal culture of the team. The SF26 project represents both an ambition and a risk. In technical terms, Ferrari is trying to get ahead of the future with an approach that challenges established norms. In human terms, they have opted for a driver who not only accumulates championships, but also brings with him a winning mentality, a demand for excellence that the Italian team seems not to have been fully prepared to receive. The end of this story has not yet been written. Subscribe to continue uploading more of that content. Now you really think about all this.